marvel at man's ingenuity in constructing tall buildings, so the emergence of a long disappeared island certainly qualifies as a landmark. In late 2006, a series of spectacular Mount Etna eruptions in Sicily saw the island, last seen in 1831, reappear. What's happening today in the Channel of Sicily, where once stood the Ferdinandea Island? As we noticed during our last diving expedition in the area, we found that the island's tip, that should be 8 metres under sea level, is now 5.9 metres. It's as if the island is trying to re-emerge. The island has emerged 4 times over the centuries, with underwater volcanic eruptions first recorded during the First Punic War of 264 to 241 BC. The last emergence on July 2, 1831, caused months of international wrangling over the island, with 4 nations making territorial claims, including Britain, Spain, and the Bourbon Court of Sicily. The rock, which rose some 65 metres above the surface and had a circumference of around 5 kilometres, emerged in a very strategic location. The British rushed to claim it as Graham Island, while Sicily's King Ferdinand II called it Ferdinandea. Both sides barely had time to rub their hands and stake out the real estate when, just 6 months later, the island once again slid back into the vibrant blue Mediterranean. Volcanic eruptions in southern Italy are, of course, not a new occurrence. In 1944, as hostilities raged during World War II, it was the site of probably the most famous eruption in modern history, Mount Vesuvius. Only months earlier, Sicily had become a springboard for a full-scaled Allied invasion of Italy and the beginning of the end of the war in southern Europe. In 79 AD, the Roman city of Pompeii was engulfed by an explosion so violent and so sudden that its inhabitants and all their possessions were buried in volcanic ash. Much later, the disaster became a unique treasure trove for archaeologists. The city buildings and the corpses of many people had been perfectly preserved. Pompeii has provided a unique window into everyday Roman life. Superstitious Italians say the 1944 eruption was the mountain showing its anger at the war's violence. More than 150 bombs fell on Pompeii, destroying many unique objects. That was the most recent Pompeii eruption, but seismologists say it is unlikely to be the last. Fishermen in the local town of Sciacca have been told about the island by their parents. Like many islands in the Mediterranean, it has been occupied for millennia and has its own folklore and traditions. Whichever name you would like to call it, the Graham Island or Ferdinandea, it has been an infrequent visitor on the doorstep for thousands of years. And of course, in a Mediterranean fishing community, mysterious comings and goings are always accompanied by local myths and superstitions. The locals have a special explanation on why it disappeared. Our fathers say that once this island emerged and someone put a flag on it, what flag? A British flag. The English put a flag on it and the island disappeared into the sea.